Hey, get ready for this week's episode of Geeks on Trial, because I'm talking about my trip to the country of Japan. You don't want to miss that. And then in our case, we're having a little bit of an issue surrounding Five Nights at Freddy's costumes. It's going to be spooky fun. Stay tuned. What you are listening to is real. The parties involved are not cool. They are actual geeks with a case pending in the court of public opinion. The party's case has been dismissed, and the dispute will be settled here on our podcast. There will be no lawyers. There will be no witness testimony. The judge's decisions are final.
Hello, I'm Judge Ivan.
I'm Judge Jonathan, and this is Geeks on Trial. Today's case, 5 Friends at Freddy's.
Welcome to Geeks on Trial. This is the podcast where we settle petty disputes between actual geeks over movies, video games, board games, and more. If you'd like to submit your own geeky case for a future episode, you can email us at geeksontrial@gmail.com. You can also support the show over at patreon.com/geeksontrial for just a few bucks a month, and you'll gain early access to both our audio and our video episodes before they're released to the general public.
Hey, Ivan, how's it going?
Oh, I'm doing good. Yourself?
I'm doing good. You definitely just said movies, by the way.
Fine.
But you just went right through it.
I went right. Listen.
Movies, bibbity, bibbity, video, bibbity, bibbity, blah.
But you know what? I didn't stop. I'm professional. We do that. This is live, right?
This is live. So if you flub like that, you have to just keep going. Otherwise, it's embarrassing.
I guess what was it? Bibbity, bobbity, movity, boobity? There you go.
Mm-hmm. We played a little trick on the audience. Did you know that?
No.
We did. They thought that every week we've been recording a fresh episode.
Right.
But in truth, for the past 3 or 4 weeks, I haven't been in this nation.
I have been sitting here in a robe for weeks.
I pre-recorded all of my parts of the podcast.
Right.
And then you had to go in and fill in and respond to what I was saying.
God, I'm sure some shows do shit like that, and that would just be awful.
Seems not possible to me,
No.
but I suppose it depends on the type of show you're doing.
You could also just be a really good improv artist. You're not.
I'm trying so hard to come up with something to say to that, and I can't.
Yes, and
here's the truth. I was in Japan. I went to Japan. I took a little trip with a group of friends to the country of Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty exciting. I spent 3 weeks there.
Wow.
Just about 3 weeks.
Wow.
My first time in Japan. Also the longest I've ever spent truly anywhere else in my life that wasn't my home. I don't know that I've ever taken a trip that was longer than maybe 2 weeks. So this is
the first time that you've spent more than, let's say, a week or two out of the good old United States of America.
Certainly. And I have, and not for many years have I taken a trip like that.
Well,
so
you look healthier, which is probably a test to
is that
the
true?
US. No.
Okay.
I'm just, I'm trying to make fun of the country.
Hopefully people are listening and they'll just assume I look really good.
Like, oh, he has a full head of blonde hair. He just looks great.
Yeah, I joined a K-pop band while I was over there. And they do love K-pop over there. Anyway, so I could talk a long time about Japan. I did a lot of things. I ate a lot of food. I went to all the theme parks.
Mm-hmm.
I went to stores. All kinds of things.
It sounds like while you were in Japan, I was doing the same stuff here in the United States, not on vacation. I ate food. I went to stores. I looked at the theme park. I mean, you just somewhere else.
When you put it like that, I really wasted a whole lot of time.
You wasted a whole lot of time, and
Anyway, Japan, kind of the mecca for geeks, right?
Yes.
Traditionally, it's it's where they want to go. The video games, the anime, it all comes from over there. So
what did you do? What are the highlights for you? What did you enjoy there? What was your most fun thing over in Japan?
Well, I'm a big theme park head. So for me, I got to do Tokyo Disney and Universal Japan, including the Nintendo World. And maybe I don't want to get too into that. Maybe that's another week we talk about that. But that was a highlight for me. But there were a couple things I wanted to bring up because they did actually specifically relate to things we have talked about recently on the show that I thought might be fun to come back to. One of them is movies we often talk about.
You say it right.
Movies.
Thank you.
And I thought this was a cool opportunity
Mm.
I while we were there, the newest Miyazaki movie was out in theaters, The Boy and the Heron,
Mm.
which is, you know, his after he said he was going to retire, he said it like 3 times before, and it pisses me off because I have a Blu-ray collection which says
Oh, yeah.
the complete works of Hayao Miyazaki, and it ain't anymore. Pisses me off.
Now, while you were there, you should have seen if you could buy a sticker that from their factory to cover it that doesn't say complete anymore.
I'm
Like,
just
maybe
gonna buy, yeah, I get this Blu-ray and just like tape it to the back, and like
It says
there it is.
almost now. You have a Sharpie. You just, God damn it.
Fucking annoying. Just stay retired, you asshole.
Well,
Anyway,
that could be a whole different topic for another week, but like that always pisses me off. When it's like, oh, here's the complete Harry Potter movies. Oh, we're going to put one more out.
yeah. That's
Stay
why I
in.
never buy I've never bought a James Bond movie because I'm like, I'll wait. It's like it's the 24 movie collection. I'm like, but 25 is right around the corner. I'm not a
Exactly.
sucker. I'm gonna
Well-
wait. Anyway, so I'm still waiting for Mission. It'll be 3 or 4 years before I buy the complete Mission Impossible set. But I'm looking forward to
You'll
it.
have to wait until he dies for that to be a complete set.
8 is the last one.
Mhm.
It doesn't
So-
look. We don't have time for this. We
So
don't have
how
time
is
for
Japan?
this. So anyway, I went and saw The Boy and the Heron in a Japanese theater. This did not have subtitles or anything.
Did you
It
like
was-
ask them first before you watched them?
No, I just in Japan
You
it's
just found
very.
A rare
You can just kind of watch.
All right.
Yeah. Well, what can I say? Things are different over there.
These are different.
So I watched this movie in Japanese. Now it's a Miyazaki Ghibli movie, so if you've seen these, then you know that they often don't make sense anyway, even in English.
Right.
There's a lot of weird magical things that happen that
So-
don't really make any sense.
How did that work? So you had no idea, like was there subtitles at all? Like could you
No.
go to an English subtitled movie?
You could. A lot of movies were subtitled. Like they played
Okay.
a lot of American movies, or they would be just in English with Japanese subtitles.
Okay.
But this one, because it's from Japan, I don't even think there was a translation yet. Like it's not that it's coming out in America in a few weeks or something.
Right. Yeah, because
So-
usually it has to go through some process to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the only option, and I just thought like, what a cool opportunity to like see this in the place where
Right.
it came from.
Like I feel like any place that I want to go to outside of the United States, I want to go to a movie. I don't care what movie it is. I want to experience the movie theater culture and how was Japanese movie theater culture? By boil it down as the entire culture
Yeah.
by seeing this one movie.
Right. Well, this is what I can tell you, and I'm excited to talk about this. I mean, for the most part, it's the same. However, by and large, in Japan, just in general, people tend to be quieter and more respectful in public places.
Mhm.
For instance, on the train, you're not supposed to eat food, and you're not supposed to talk on the phone, and nobody does. It's like
No
If you've
eating
ever been-
food. That's interesting.
unless it's there are some like the bullet train, you actually have a seat with a tray, but on like the standard
Oh.
like the
You're
New
gonna be on
York
here for
subway
20 minutes.
equivalent,
Right.
you're not eating, you're not talking. Like it's
Well, I
very-
don't recommend eating anything on the New York subway unless you
No.
are okay with the flavor of just urine.
Right. Please don't eat anything you find on a New York subway. But it goes back to a conversation we had a few weeks ago about the issue of staying in theaters and watching credits.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay.
And there's a little story from a few weeks back. People can find it where an usher got annoyed at me for sitting in my seat and watching the credits.
Well, he wasn't
It-
annoyed with you. He wants to repeat. He wasn't annoyed with you and didn't want you
Right.
to leave.
Yeah, well, the jury's out on that one. In Japan, I learned the culture there is most people will sit in their seats quietly until the credits are done. They do not get up. And if they do, they will because a few people when I saw the movie did leave before the credits were over, but they treat it like they're like ducking in front of the screen.
Oh.
They're not talking to their friend about the movie. It's like, we need to get out of here, but everyone else is watching the movie. It's
Oh, you
it's
mean
basically
like how
my
it's-
dream.
How it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's like, oh, they're polite and it's expected. It's considered perfectly normal to sit there and watch the credits in Japan.
You mean
So
like
I loved that.
getting what you're paying for?
Yeah.
is a thing.
And respecting the creators and all that shit. They're all about it over there. So that's the biggest difference. They still have movie snacks and popcorn and all that stuff. That's still a thing. Everything else was pretty much the same.
Now, did you go? Was it like an AMC? Like, was it a commercial franchise movie theater, or was it like a privately owned mom and pop?
I went to it's Toho Cinemas.
Okay.
So that's definitely, there's a chain of them, and they have, Toho is like the studio that does Godzilla movies and other things like that.
Oh, right, because they're a country that probably doesn't have that rule that studios can't own movie theaters.
I guess not, because they sure own one here. Also, the other thing that's really cool about that theater in particular, they had a gift shop in the lobby. So for currently playing movies, they had like merch. They had Ninja Turtles action figures for the new Turtles movie. They had
That's awesome.
Like posters you could buy of the movies. Like I would go there every week just to get the merch if I lived by a theater like that. Such a cool idea.
Really cool.
Alamo Drafthouse, I think, does stuff like that too, but most theaters do not.
Now, what was cleanliness wise in the theater? Was that like, were your floors sticky? Was there popcorn thrown about, or were people like throwing their garbage out?
No. Yeah. Oh yeah. Nobody left garbage. I mean, in Japan, that's a big thing, is there aren't very many trash cans around. In public places, if you have trash, you put it in your pocket or you find a trash can. People just don't litter there because they just aren't as horrible as us.
Oh, but you would think there would be more littering because like there isn't a place to put the garbage.
You would think, but there's not. People just deal with it. Like if you're in a restaurant, there'll be a trash can. Right. But if you're like in a park or something, you gotta hunt one down a lot of the times. There's a lot of little weird differences like that out there.
So overall, what would you rate your movie-going experience in Japan?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10? Oh, right. Now, talk to me about like the seats. Was it like, do they have the reclining seats? Was it like Dolby surround
This
sound?
Did not. Right? Again, my impression is that this was probably slightly on the higher end. It was a nice theater, but I'm sure there's nicer and worse ones out there. The seats didn't recline. It was reserved seating, like you'd expect, but standard.
But reserved seating, we were like one of the last countries to do that. Like I know a lot of other countries did that, but okay. So tell me, what else did you do besides going to the movie theater?
Real quick. Yeah.
Tell me about.
Did you have a suggestion? Yeah, real quick. I did, because again, this was relating to something that we talked about before.
Yes.
And because it's Halloween coming up, we talked about our experience with haunted houses and haunted mazes, and how I had never really done any of them, and I did 2 of them at Universal Japan while I was there. I did one themed around Chucky.
Okay.
And one themed around Resident Evil, or Biohazard, as they call it in Japan.
Oh, it's a different title? Okay.
Yes, they changed that for the Americas. And both were cool. Chucky was weird because it was like a circus theme. And I don't know if there's any circuses in any Chucky movies. I don't know.
I've seen a lot of them. I wonder, that just sounds like they had a circus themed thing and they said, put the Chucky name on it.
It was like Chucky's Carnival of Terror or something.
You sure? No. I think you went to a Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, that's what it was. It was.
Was there a pizza and children?
It was cheesy.
Oh.
But it was this one. You wore 3D glasses in this one, which was weird. Like
while you're walking.
Yes, like things in the maze were in 3D. I found it very disorienting, and also it was very like gaudy, bright, garish colors and a lot of loud screaming all the time.
Oh, like constantly.
I didn't love the Chucky maze. It wasn't it was a little, I found it a little nauseating.
Did it feel just cheap? Like it was like just last minute kind of like.
I don't know about cheap, but it didn't feel especially like, Chucky. Oh, wow, this is like I've seen videos of, other ones in America where they're themed around Evil Dead or something that seemed more impressive to me, personally. Maybe because they were actually like, oh, that looks like the movie, whereas this just looked like a carnival with weird clowns and Chucky in it. I don't know.
Was there like, because like what? Okay, have you seen any of the Child's Play Chucky movies?
I've never actually watched a Child's Play movie.
So like it's just like all it is like a haunted factory
doll,
and
yeah.
So it's just like it takes place in apartments and stuff. So I guess that would be
it was just what if Chucky was
a circus freak
at a carnival.
He has red hair. He must be a clown.
Now the Resident Evil one, that was really cool, and that was very much closer to the games it's inspired by. That one was also cool because it almost had like a puzzle element to it, or an escape room element, where your group had to like find a code. And I mean, it was pretty like obvious what it was, and I don't think they would have let you fail necessarily.
Right. It was forced participation that you're going
But
to
it
like
felt, and there was also a part at the end where like there were like guns, and there was an electronic screen, and it was like an arcade shooter, and you actually got to shoot a guy.
Huh.
So that one was awesome. And also I'm familiar with Resident Evil, so it meant more to me. But
now,
I love that one.
do you think because like, so the game was created there, right? Isn't it? It's a Japanese based game.
That
so
is
it would
correct.
make sense that like, okay, the thing that was created in Japan versus Chucky, which was created here, they would probably put more effort into the Japanese one versus the story that they didn't create.
That's probably a good hypothesis. It is funny how there are certain things for Universal that, like Chucky being one of them. We found this Universal Studios store, not in the theme park. It was somewhere in Tokyo. And it was all about like Chucky, Woody Woodpecker, E.T., a few other characters they own, but they made them all like cute and chibi looking. And it was just really funny to be like, you can buy handbags with like cute little Chucky on. It's like, why is he the one? Why do they like him? But they made him palatable, to.
I don't know see, that's another interesting thing because like with the copyright things, I don't know if like Universal owns Chucky here.
No idea, but apparently they do there. So
that could be interesting of like, okay, so what is owned by Disney or Universal in America versus Japan? Like, I'm surprised you didn't see Frankenstein or any of the typical.
They did have
monsters.
they did have them there. They were there. They just weren't. There was a maze with them. I didn't do it. I ran out of time. I was doing something else.
Okay.
But there was a monsters maze there as well.
Now, to bring up something that we talked about, we're going to go over time for this, but whatever.
It's all right. We're fine.
To talk about what we were talking about in the episode beforehand, you went to Universal Studios, the theme park. Was the rest of the theme park opened plus the haunted attractions, or was there something, like was there normal things closed to push you more towards the mazy kind of stuff?
No, the mazy stuff was the whole thing was open.
So it was a full theme park plus.
Yep, okay. And they had their own like buildings. It was all their own thing. And then at night they brought out people who walked around and spooked you in costumes.
What they do?
They spooked you.
Now I looked up Six Flags Great Adventure, which is our local one here in Jersey, and it looks like that they are open till midnight during the Halloween hours, which they don't do during their regular theme park hours. So it is an extended experience, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, so it sounds like it was just so everything was themed in the entire theme park around Halloween?
No, I mean the standard, like they had jack-o'-lanterns and shit, but it wasn't like they still had, like if you went to Harry Potter Land, it was still Harry Potter Land.
Right, but like outside of the building, was it like Harry Potter jack-o'-lanterns or like, well, but I guess like
not really.
Because like certain TV networks play Harry Potter for Halloween, so I guess that is like
sure. Yeah, it was just in maybe the main part. Like Nintendo World certainly did not have any Halloween theming in it.
But that could have been cute though. Have like a Mario pumpkin head or like Mario.
That's maybe something I wonder if they'll do 5 years from now. But it's probably
because it's all fresh.
It's so new that people are like, well, I'm here for Nintendo. Honestly, that is something that for me is a little bit like. It's a little bit annoys me if I go to a theme park and they have a bunch of Halloween stuff, because I'm like, I'm here for I want like the classic experience. If I were here every month, then I'd be like, this is cool.
But I guess you wouldn't like go, like if you just wanted vanilla theme park, not vanilla, but the original theme park, you wouldn't go during Halloween.
Right, but sometimes they run their Halloween throughout like all of October and usually part of September and November too.
It's like if that's your only option.
Yeah. But it's a small. It's not like it didn't dominate the park, I don't think. So I was.
Have you been to the Universal Studios parks here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Both of them?
Just the Florida one.
Okay, so you haven't been to Universal Hollywood.
No.
Now, compared to what do you think was better, the Universal Studios Florida or the one in Japan?
I actually think Florida is right now Florida doesn't have Nintendo yet. So that's a big boost. But I will say in terms of just sheer number of rides and things, I think there's a lot more in America.
That's interesting.
There's a couple of unique rides in Japan that we don't have, but a lot of it, like Harry Potter, for instance, since I went to Florida, they've added like 3 or 4 Harry Potter rides. Japan doesn't have those. They only have the ones I've already done.
Okay.
So I was kind of like, well, I've done this before.
Oh, that's interesting too, because so they're the exact same copycat ride, Japan versus America.
And same with Nintendo is going to be exact same thing here as what I did. So,
which it makes sense because it's like, oh, I don't want to have to go. Oh, there's a different ride there. I have to fly over to Japan. They want you to. This is Japan's copy. This is America's copy. This is Florida's copy. You know,
the amount of work and engineering it goes into designing a park. It's like we're going to do it once.
Take these blueprints and put them over there. And, you know.
Yeah. There was some other good spooky stuff. I did a ring ride, which I don't think. I didn't even know was there. I don't think it's anywhere else. I haven't looked it up, but it was based on The Ring, and it's like a ride. Like you sit in a thing and you spin around and go on a track.
Which
cool.
Our ring or their ring?
Their ring. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, they're
Same.
pretty similar.
Right. But you know.
Anyway.
So it was like is that there all the time or is that just for Halloween?
I think it's there all the time. Yeah. I think they always
that's cool.
That.
Okay.
Yeah. Certainly wasn't. It was like legit. Like you couldn't tear it down overnight, I don't think.
So, overall, you had fun in your Halloween experience in Japan?
It was good. It was a good Halloween experience. They had some Halloween shows too. They had like a Pokemon Halloween show. They had some weird shit.
Was there any other besides the theme park and whatever? Was there other Halloween stuff going on in the country? Or are we more Halloween-y than they are?
I think we are. Supposedly they do like Halloween there. They get into it, but I think probably not as early as we get into it.
Right.
I also was only in major cities for the most part, so I don't know if in the suburbs they decorate their. Now they did have. I should say they do a lot of like Starbucks and all these will have special Halloween flavors for things during this month. So yeah, they do promotional stuff like that. It's a thing.
So did you get a pumpkin spice anything while you were there?
No, I did get a Frankenstein flavored ice cream from Baskin Robbins.
Does it just taste like rotting flesh?
Tasted like organs and metal.
Yeah, and it shocked you. They walked around the battery and just gotcha.
That was the best part.
It's true.
All right.
Anyway, enough about your trip to Japan.
I could talk about it forever. I could talk about it.
We might talk about it on another show. Or...
we need desperate for content.
Or maybe in the Patreon we'll talk about it.
Right, yeah, there you go. But that's enough for now. But I did want to stick on the Halloween theme because that's coming, and maybe even you said Chuck E. Cheese earlier. There might be a little bit of a.
I see what you did there.
Okay, because this week's case, it's real spooky, and I'm real excited to talk about it because it's funny.
Oh.
Today's case comes to us from the internet. You can find a link in our episode description. Our defendant today is Abby. Abby wants to go see the new Five Nights at Freddy's movie based on the video game, which if you're watching this episode at the time of release, it's fresh in theaters right now. How exciting. She asks her friends on the Snapchat, because, that's what the Zoomers do, if anybody wants to go see the movie with her. And one of her friends, Vanessa, reaches out and invites her to see it with her and some other people. So isn't that nice? But here's the condition. Here's the condition.
Okay.
Vanessa's group is all cosplaying as characters from the Five Nights at Freddy's series. And in order to come, she says Abby must also cosplay as a character. Specifically, she must go as Chica, who, for the uninitiated, is a big yellow bird animatronic. Now, Abby is a little hesitant. She says she'd prefer to dress as, say, Roxanne Wolf or Mangle, beloved characters we all know and love.
Yes.
But Vanessa says she must be Chica. Those characters are already spoken for. Now, Abby is struggling to put this costume together in time. She's only had 2 days' notice to get it together. And she implores Vanessa to let her just dress as whoever she wants, or maybe just go in some face paint or whatever, something easy. But Vanessa insists. She's been planning this for months, this outing, and she doesn't want anything ruining it. As dual judges here on Geeks on Trial, it's now our job to determine whether Abby should speak up and leave up this clica, or if she should just shut up and beak up as Chica.
You can go back to Japan.
So
we're good.
This is a complicated one. There's a lot going on here. This is a complicated story. case, whatever we call it.
Yep. There's a lot I kind of want to ask Abby. I want to maybe I should like dear Abby. What was your okay?
That's how you would address it. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would address it. It's a costume.
Okay. Also good. Also good. Point for you. This is at midnight. Let's start with Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay.
Because this is a sensation. Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, it's a lot bigger than what I thought it was, because I did some research on this a couple of weeks ago, because I'm like, oh, there's a movie about this single video game. Oh no, there's been like 400 video games.
Oh yes. Now I remember back in the day.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. Five Nights at Freddy's was new, the first game. And it was this fun, I played it a little bit. I played that first one with friends, or I watched friends play it.
First Night at Freddy's.
That's right. It's a very simple concept. You are a security guard at a Chuck E. Cheese stand-in. The animatronics come to life, and you have to close the doors before they get you and see how long you can last without your power running out.
Right.
Did you play or at least watch any of this? What's your
familiarity? Well, I often like to see how long I could last without my power running out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun thing I do before anyway. So yeah, I played into Five Nights at Freddy's back in the day. I think I was basically on Steam, I believe, and now you can get it on all the consoles, because there's been like lots of versions. It's like a real game now where you can like walk around, and like the old school game was very. I would take it to like it was a Flash game. It was a very basic, like it was it had some cool things, but it's like you had very minimal movements. You couldn't run around. It was very repetitive. If you didn't win the first time, you had to keep redoing the same thing over and over again. Yeah, I do want to say that game was probably one of the earlier scary streamer games that came popular, because now it's like, yeah, that game was cool where it's like, oh, you turn around a corner and you have somebody right in your face, and it's a typical jump scare. But now it's like there's something called like Lunch Lady, and there's other games that are like,
I think that's Adam Sandler and the
right. Yeah, it's very scary. Have you seen that clip? It's very frightening.
It is scary. It is.
But
scary.
like, so this game opened the gates for this type of genre of, a game that doesn't really have a ton of substance, but it's there to just scare you. It's like remember the old school YouTube videos that's like, you trick someone into watching them, and then the screamer's face comes up and scares them.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of like that, but for video games, basically.
Yeah. I think to my memory, when the first one came out, streaming wasn't really a thing.
No.
Or it was very, very niche if it was. And it was more like YouTube compilations of someone playing the scary game.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're right. This was definitely at the forefront of that. And yeah, it was very simple. It was an indie game. I think just one person made this whole game. Maybe they had a couple other people. It was good old Freddy.
Yep.
And remember, this is not Freddy Krueger. This is a different Freddy.
Oh, it's not under the mask? It's not Freddy Krueger?
Well, maybe. But since that first game came out, as you said, there's like 5 others. There's spin-offs. I think there's an RPG or something.
I'm sure. I think there was like an anime. Like there was a cartoon for it for a little bit. Like there's been pop figures. They licensed the hell out of this franchise. And hopefully the original person still owns it or still gets money from it. Because
I think they do.
If they do, God bless them. That's
they're making bank.
Jackpot. And like, I don't know, like, what would you say the age range for this game was? Because like when it first came out, I feel like it was for like the teen to like the high school, college era. And now it's like I see kids youth wearing Five Nights at Freddy's shirts. And like, I would have been scared out of my goddamn mind.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a weird thing where it has become this thing for the young folks.
The young folks.
And yeah, I guess it's sort of in the same range as Goosebumps kind of material. Okay. But it seems a little, to me, I haven't delved into it too much, but I do think there is more disturbing, weirder, creepier content than your average Goosebumps book. And there's a whole world of lore. If you look at a Five Nights at Freddy's wiki, I couldn't even begin to tell you. It's become a meme at this point because there's just so much backstory to these characters that I know nothing about.
Now I wonder, because like the original game was so plain, slow. I wonder if people who are like young now don't even know what the original game is, or like played the original game. It's like, this isn't good. I want my, my Five Nights at Freddy's open world game.
I
I'm
think
sure
they like it. No, I think they like it. I don't think we need to go that boomer yelling at kids on their lawn with this.
Right.
But yeah, there's certainly more underneath it in terms of the lore that is what keeps you coming back. I mean, I think that's why to us it's like, I don't get what's the big deal about this, because that stuff didn't really come into play until the sequels, which I know nothing about.
Right. But I still like. I would say it was it was a fairly quality game when we played it. Like
it was a
enjoyable
great game for being, $5. And
well, that's what I was going to bring up too. I'm pretty sure it was like a cheap game if I didn't get it for free from a sale.
I think they're still cheap. I don't think he's making $60 Five Nights at Freddy's games.
Right.
I think they're budget titles. There's just a lot of them.
Yeah.
But anyway, this movie's coming out, and clearly Abby and friends are big fans of it. So, all right, that's the Five Nights at Freddy's of it all.
Okay.
And we should say, hold on. There's more. Abby, by the way, is 18 years old. So we're talking about a demographic that's not us right now.
Right. I want to see what year the original game came out. Keep talking.
I was curious about that as well. I'm going to try to guess. I want to say it was 2014. No, maybe earlier than that. 2011, maybe?
So
that's
I got to wave past all of the crap for the movie. Let's see. 2023. Now, that's the movie.
Just type in Five Nights at Freddy's game release date. That's all you had to do. Go to the wiki page.
Well, the wiki page is just a shit show now. August 8th, 2014.
Oh, was that my first one? And then I moved it back to 2011? I did. I screwed up.
You lost.
I screwed up. I should have went with my gut. Anyway, that's fine. So
there's a lot of games.
It's not even a decade old. It feels like that game came out in another lifetime to me.
12. There's 12 games or DLCs or whatever, but there's 12 versions that you can play of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Now let's talk about these characters and the possibility of cosplaying as them.
Right.
Which I guess that's probably going to be huge. I feel like this Halloween's probably going to be Barbies and Freddy's, right? Because
which is interesting because like I'm a big Halloween head. I love going to Spirit Halloween. I used to work the Halloween warehouse over at Party City.
You love going to Spirit Halloween?
I really do like going to Spirit Halloween.
Do you like the movie?
I honestly forgot that existed, and I think so did the company. Because I Googled it, and it was nowhere on their websites ever. It's like they never sold like a DVD of it at their stores. I looked it up, never watched it. But I like going to Spirit Halloween because they have all of the animatronics set up. You could see all the costumes. You could see all they theme stores. And I also like walking into old abandoned stores.
Have you seen Lewis?
Who's Lewis?
You don't know about Lewis?
I don't know about Lewis.
He is not a jack-o'-lantern. His name is Lewis.
This is a thing?
But don't worry about it.
Okay.
The Zoomers will know. The Zoomers will know. It's a thing. I'll show you later.
But I don't know what. There wasn't really a Five Nights at Freddy's section at the Spirit Halloween, which I thought was kind of weird. But I'm sure, like, okay, the movie came out this year. They'll probably have them next year. That's like kind of Halloween culture. Is they're like a year behind on everything.
But I would have thought because the game costumes I think have been around. So because Five Nights at Freddy's I feel like it's almost up there with like. It's not as popular as Minecraft, but in terms of like you'll see it in Target in the toy aisle, I think, like next to the Minecraft stuff.
But they also might not have the copyright either at this store.
Maybe you got to buy them from the source or something. I don't know.
But it would be such an easy because like the game is about costumes. They are costumed characters. So for Halloween, that just seems like it would be like an easy costume to set up, or even like a anyone who's cosplaying at the conventions and stuff. It just seems like it would be fairly easy because it's not like these characters were maybe Freddy, but like these characters are like taken from other characters in existence. They're just like the giant mascot head costumes that you could probably buy at any of your like costume rental stores and then adjust to be more about the game. Like, what is this one? This one's a chicken?
Chica's a chicken. And this is the one that for Abby, she thinks this is too hard for her to put together.
Now, this one just seems easy to me because it would be like a black wig, a bucket hat, a suit coat, and like, you're standing next to a guy with a horn who doesn't speak.
It's hard for me to visualize because I don't know how legit they're going with these costumes, right?
You didn't get my joke.
What did you say?
I was explaining Chico marks. A guy with a hat, suit, standing next to somebody who doesn't speak.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, well,
right.
It's good. Mm-hmm.
See, I don't think the Freddy's characters don't speak either, so I thought you were just talking about a man in a suit doesn't speak.
We've been out of practice.
Chico. This is Chica.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that was 100% on me.
Yeah, it was 100% on you.
We'll let the viewers and listeners decide.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's talk about Mangle. Yeah. So like, I don't know if because there's levels you could go here to commit where you could just do, like a plastic mask and some feathers, or you could do a legit full body 3D costume.
So I was doing some research because I had no idea the names of the characters. I knew there was a chicken. I knew there was a bear. I knew there was, stuff like that, but I didn't know names.
You knew Roxanne Wolf.
Yes, but
you knew Mangle.
That's my local news anchor.
Roxanne she's Wolf. Good.
Yeah,
she's
good.
But
so the first things that come up are like, I want to call them the cheesy, cheap costumes or the sexy party costumes.
Do they have sexy Five Nights at Freddy's?
It kind of is what these pictures are that I'm looking at. It's like a girl in a shortcut pink dress with a golden wig.
Oh, faster!
That's all it is. It's literally a golden wig and it's stupid. This costume and an apron that says "Let's eat" on it.
Oh, okay. So this is not like
it's the American. Okay. It's the human-fied. Thing. Yeah,
inspired by Five Nights. I want to do Five Nights at Freddy's, but I need to look good. So I'm not.
I want to. Yeah, I need to make it sexy looking. I need to. A chicken head isn't doing it for people.
Send me that link later.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what was happening. What were we talking about? I got a little flustered.
Of a costume, I think of like you want to have a chicken head. You want to have you want to be in the full costume of the game.
Sure. Ideally, I mean that's the dream. That's like when I was a kid, I always wanted that version of it, but either they don't sell it at Party City or it's $500 to get it.
Right, because either you have this our news article, our internet thing, our case. It's been a while since we've done this, folks. Our file says cosplay, not costume. Correct?
Yeah, but I think that's at this point, those are interchangeable. I think. I don't
because when in my head, when I think of cosplay versus costume, like a costume to me would be like a cheesy, I can pick it up at Party City Halloween costume that doesn't, have a lot of details to it. Maybe you spent like $40 to $100 on this, versus a cosplay where somebody like made this costume and the details are down. Oh, this character has a wound on its left arm. I need to make that, and it's like it's screen ready. So that's to me is like the difference between cosplay versus costume.
I think I think that's usually how people use it, but I do think it's a semantic thing where sometimes like if you say someone is cosplaying or if you say a cosplayer is in a costume, it's not necessarily wrong. I think it's just, but yeah, like they kind of have those different definitions. So, I mean, well, one of the things here that's part of this case is that Abby says, Vanessa says that Abby could just do face paint. And so Abby says that she doesn't want to go out in yellow face paint. So it does sound like Vanessa was kind of giving an out maybe, or saying you could do a simpler version if you want. But she was like, no, I want to do it all the way, go big or go home, I guess. I don't know.
But it sounds like the issue is she doesn't want to be this character.
That's the other issue is that apparently, I don't know why, but apparently everybody hates Chica and everyone in the group is like, I don't want to be Chica. It's like drawing the short straw as being Chica. I don't know why, but nobody likes
like, fine,
Chica.
You don't want to be Chica, but you want to be another character.
Maybe it's Chica. I don't know.
Oh, that would make sense.
Anyway.
So like, so Abby asked them, and it's like, hey, you guys are going to the movie. I want to join your group. This group was already, Vanessa's group was already planning on going to this movie. Clearly, they said months in advance. Fine, they're huge fans of this thing. So I see both sides here of like, okay, fine, she's the outsider coming into this group. We need a fifth person or whatever people. It would be weird if there was two Freddys in this group. We need we need a John Paul Ringo. We need the other Beatle.
We need Eric Clapton. Well, let's set the scenario straight here. Whether or not how relevant this is, I don't know, but we'll set it straight anyway. Abby puts a shout out to basically like all of her friends. Is anyone going to see this? And then Vanessa separately sends her a message saying, I'm going with some friends. Would you like to come with me? But you got to dress up. So I do think it's maybe important to establish that it's Abby didn't say, hey, can I come with you? Vanessa did invite her.
Okay.
With this condition that is.
So Abby's just looking for people in her friend group to go to said movie with. And
this was kind of the offer she got that she found. So the question is like, is it unreasonable for Vanessa to say, I mean, if this, usually a lot of times we boil it down to this on our show. If this happened to you, if you were saying, I want to go see, trying to think of what movie we'd want to go see that's come out recently. I really want to go see Saw 10.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, you can come with me and some of my friends, but we're all dressing up and you've got to be the girl in the pig mask.
Right.
We've got a jigsaw. We've got a guy with bees coming into their eyes or whatever.
Bees do that?
Yeah, I think they do that in the new one. You got to be pig mask. And you were like, I don't know that I want to be pig. I don't know. What are you
because
thinking?
Like you have two options here. You are going with this group and they're like, hey, we can do this, but we're dressing up. So, either come with us and be in costume or don't come with us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like you need to be in a group to see this movie.
True.
Like,
Very
there's
true.
nothing stopping Abby from just going to her local cinema, getting a ticket and just going to see this movie.
She could also do that like at the same time and place as these people.
Well, and that's the other thing I'm going to go down with is she can also go with this group and just not be in costume, be in any costume.
Like, what are they going to, like, how is it different from their perspective? Their position is, oh, we don't want, we want everyone to be in costume. Like, don't ruin it. But like, if you're sitting there next to a stranger who's not in costume,
just look like a person who's seeing the movie.
Right. You'll just be there. It's not like you're dressing as, I would understand if she was like, well, I want to go as Maleficent.
Right.
Like that would be a little weird because it's like,
but at the same time though, fine. If you want to dress as something else, just don't be in their pictures. Cause this is probably what it all boils down to is they want the full group for good photos for the socials. So like,
yes,
then just step out of the way and don't be the one in the photos. And like, you're right. If you're just sitting next to them in a different costume, they'll be like, oh, there's somebody else here in a different costume. That's cool.
I wonder how much of this I'm theorizing, maybe if it is a generational disconnect of the kids these days of wanting like, we're going out, we're going to be on the gram all night. I'm so fucking old. And being like, we can't, it's our image. Or here's the other, here's the thing, here's another wrinkle to this. Number one is Vanessa planned this months ago, didn't invite Abby to begin with. So is that a thing? How close of friends are these two?
That's the other thing I was thinking about too. It's like, okay, I also, another thing that I didn't know you can like openly just like send a group message out on Snapchat. That's how old I am.
Yeah. I think like anyone you're on your Snapper they'll see your chats.
Do you have Snapchat on your phone?
No, I don't understand any. Snapchat is the one, like I'm doing TikTok. I did Instagram, like Snapchat was the one step that I went, it deletes it after 24 hours. Why? I don't understand.
Well, the only thing I always thought just Snapchat was just for the sexy time pictures and stuff like that.
Borat.
Right.
Yeah, I do think it was really
It
big
was
when
really
Borat came
big
out.
in Kazakhstan. They loved it. They had the filters where I put the mustache and
That was one we were doing for a group cosplay, and I was saying, sorry, you have to be Pamela Anderson.
you have to you called me and you're like, you need to go get a boob job. You have to go, get a wig.
I don't like when you say vulgar things like that.
The wigs.
So anyway, so it's like, how good of friends are they? And then but then in turn to that, Vanessa did invite her at some point. It's not like they must be good at, she doesn't hate her or she wouldn't have even
Right,
reached out at all.
Because it's not like she said, "Oh, your group is going to see this movie. Can I join?" No, it's,
Right.
"Hey guys, anybody going to see this movie? I want to go see it with a group." And she reached out and said, "Fine." Now I want to know, in the original text message or snappy chat, was there anybody that did she say, "Hey, cool, I want you to come with us, but we all are dressing up, and we need a chicken. Will you be the chick?" Like, was there stipulations to this thing, or was it just like, yeah, sure, you can come to this a week before the movie comes out? Oh, where's your costume?
Right.
Why aren't you in costume?
And I think Abby's Abby's thinking, maybe, I don't know, did somebody drop out last minute, or is the only reason she's being invited to this is because they need a chica?
And also, like, was Abby planning on dressing up to begin with? Or was she like just going to go to the movies?
Yeah, no, it sounds like she was just going to the movies. And
or do Zoomers just dress up to go to the movies in costumes?
I mean, I guess it is Halloween weekend. Right. So that kind of makes sense. But yeah, this is Barbie was sort of people like wore pink and shit to Barbie. So
the Mario movie, we had a bunch of people dressed in costume at the Mario movie.
I think this is part of the ongoing theatrical experience becoming less of a frequent thing for people.
So it's an experience.
It's like an event now. Yeah.
Which I like it. You dressed up for Oppenheimer.
That's true. I had the hat. Right. And I had a little apple and a syringe, and I injected it and offered it to people.
I was Einstein.
You were a good Einstein.
Mm-hmm.
Not as smart as him, but.
What? Sorry?
What?
So it's weird because, like, okay, if she doesn't dress up in this costume, oh, you can't come with our group.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it's boiling. Like, and is it fair that she? Well, I wasn't thinking about dressing up, but now that you want me to dress up in this costume, I don't want to be this character. Can I be another character? Well, no, you kind of your last minute add in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's either don't dress up and be with our group, or dress up but you be this character.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't know if don't dress up might not have been an option. I don't know if that was on the table for this, but
I mean, what are they going to do? She shows up not in costume.
You're right.
Like, go away.
You're right. The social contract, I don't know what it was. It's hard for me to relate to a lot of this also because if it were me and I wanted to go see a movie, first of all, I'd just go see it. But if I wanted to go see it with people, I would ask specific people. It's hard for me to relate to the shotgun approach of just like, see who wants to go with me.
What? That's not a shotgun. Oh, you've been watching too many. Somebody's getting off of this audio right now, and
it's me.
Oh,
yeah. I saw that. I don't even understand that. I don't know. I guess it's kind of like going on. I don't have that many friends. I mean, they're in high school, I suppose. So I guess, or maybe
college,
seniors in high school or something, or freshmen in college. So I guess it's like, oh, I'm just shooting out a message to anyone on my list who's in my dorm. I don't know what this procedure is.
But... Well, because like if you think, there's been a few times where it's like, oh, hey, we're going out for Halloween, let's all get dressed up. But there was never like a theme of everyone getting dressed up. It was just like, hey, if you're coming over, have a costume. Like.
Yeah, and I would never be like, don't come if you don't have a costume.
Right. And that's the weird thing. Or it's like, oh, we're doing a theme. You have to do this theme or else you're not part of our group. It's like, don't be a bitch. Is what it boils down to.
Hey, come on.
If you're or a bastard.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, listen.
Be a feminist.
Be a bastard, fine. But like, if your friend look at it this way. Maybe your friend can't afford this costume. Maybe your friend just doesn't like wearing costumes or they have different tastes. Just be open and accepting and be like, "Hey, fine, you can come. Just don't be in our group photos.
This is kind of a complicated case, and I feel like I don't know that I'm not sure I'm going to be able to arrive at my verdict without kind of just talking through my verdict.
Because it's weird because like it's coming from different angles, and I feel like we don't have certain information because like, you know, we don't know if like, you know, the DM was, hey, you can join us, but you need to be this person, this costume. We don't know if, you know, Abby
I think that is what it was. I think that's what we know.
Like that was the original. So we think that was the original.
I think.
Hey, we're going, but you need to just dress up as Chico Marx.
I think that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So then at that point, she knew. I guess I'm talking through my verdict now. Too.
Well, let's get go ahead.
Let's get the verdicts. So like, she knew. Abby knew the initial stipulations, the rules going out with this group. Hey, you can come with us. You need to dress up in this specific character, or I guess, but you still have the option to just not dress up at all and join us. You know, because that's just, you have rights as a person.
It's a public place.
It's a public place. You can just
do
show up
anything
to
you want.
Fucking movie theater and go see a movie alone or with people and just meet friends there.
God.
Whatever. But you know, this was a stipulation. They reached out to you, and you could have said yes or no. You know, I'm sure you could have found somebody else to go with. You could have reached out to somebody. You can, you know, find people to go see this movie with. But these were the rules. So, you know, I do think Abby. Are we going Abby is guilty, not guilty?
That's right. That's her defendant today.
So Abby is guilty of maybe not really ruining this group's plans because, like, fine, she doesn't dress up. Like, you know, she's guilty of wanting to change the agreed upon contract, which is, you know, what this is. This is a verbal contract saying if you want to come to this movie with us, you have to be dressed up as a big yellow chicken.
I like the legalese there. The word contract. Yeah.
We've been watching Judge Judy a lot. It's been great.
Yeah. And sometimes I watch her show too.
Right. So yeah, so I would say Abby is guilty of trying to change the dynamics. Which, hey, maybe this is something Abby is known for. Maybe this is why nobody invited her to go see the movie to begin with.
So, here's the thing. HTT. I kind of feel like there is some guilt of some kind on maybe both sides here. I'm not convinced that Vanessa and or her group of friends are entirely acting in good faith. I do sense that there might be a bit of mean girl shenanigans going on here of maybe excluding someone. Again, she did reach out and invite her. So,
right.
But I don't know. It does feel a little bit like, well, why was this a thing she could have invited her to earlier? And could she have been a little more forgiving? Maybe, probably. It's hard for me to say. I just have a suspicion that I don't know that I'm fully in alignment with Vanessa. But at the same time, I think you're right that Abby, like, she put her feelers out. She got an offer back, and it was like, well, you can either accept or not accept.
Right.
And she thinks that these terms aren't fair. But again, it's like, well, then if you don't think they're fair, just don't do them, I guess. And it seems like I think there's maybe other stuff under the surface here, history-wise, between these two friends that maybe this is coming out in a bad way. But like, I almost feel bad. I do think I ultimately have to decide if it's guilty or not guilty. Then I think if that's the premise of the show,
right?
It's been a while, so I wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, I think Abby's guilty, but I don't feel like I want to punish her too harshly because she's guilty of kind of overreacting or of taking things too far, but she hasn't. It would be a different thing if she went to this. If she actually went and didn't wear a costume or like made a scene at the show.
Right.
But right now, all of this is theoretical. So it's like, oh, well, it's not too late to just kind of nip this in the bud, hopefully.
Right.
It will be by the time this episode comes out.
Yes.
But so guilty, but like kind of a soft guilty. I think that both sides are kind of just not great, but not terrible. But I think that's in a binary world. That's the choice I'm making.
Because like in general, we're right. Like she has the option to just not go, or to go with his group and be like, hey, yeah, I just prefer not to dress up. Like there's that option to like. I'm sure there's going to be another. It's probably going to be a large group of people with them, 5 of them, or I'm assuming, they're not going to be dressed up.
That's part of too, though, why I'm not 100% on board with the other side is because they can also just as easily be like, well, you can just come. Like, why did they have to put this stipulation that you must be in costume? That's the I would understand if it was like we're going to a costume party.
Well, because I think you're right. I think what it sounds like is somebody dropped out. Oh, we need to complete our trifecta, or oh well, if you are coming, we need someone to dress up. Maybe they didn't have anybody in mind, but they're just missing one of the characters. They want the full band there.
I've got to think maybe this is like a night planned. Like this is not just the movie. They're going to maybe go to a party or something or walk around afterwards. Like otherwise I'm like, just come to the movie. Like that's why I feel like there's partial guilt on the other side too. That's why it just seems like a weird thing to me. Like both sides could easily just kind of take a high road here and neither side's doing it.
Well, was she planning on dressing up before? Like, was she looking for a group to costume with?
Yeah, I don't think she was. No. Doesn't sound like it.
So, oh, cool. You want me to be this costume? See, if it was me and I was like reaching out and someone's like, oh yeah, you can come, but we are looking for someone to dress up in a costume with us. I'd be like, okay, cool. I'll do it.
Right.
And just be said costume. But like, I don't you're right. Is there like drama behind this one character that's like, no one chose it?
I think there's drama. Yeah. Chica. Nobody likes Chica.
There's chicken drama.
How do we punish Abby for her misdeeds? I think the obvious answer is to lock her up in a Chuck E. Cheese overnight.
Right.
And she has to cosplay as Chica, and she has to go to a Chuck E. Cheese and perform in the show as Chica for a full day.
I'm really surprised we haven't seen any pop-up restaurants as Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, I'm surprised there wasn't like a Five Nights at Freddy's restaurant.
Five Nights at Freddy's steak burgers? There's a Freddy's steak burger. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I know. They just opened up near us. But I'm surprised there wasn't like a pop-up restaurant during the Halloween month where it's like the Freddy's characters are there.
There might have been in Hollywood or somewhere like that.
But I definitely would have or she has to, any movie she sees for the next month, she has to dress up in this character.
You're going to see Dune Part 2? You're Chica.
Dress as Chica.
Yeah. Well, maybe our viewers and listeners can chime in and help us out here. If anyone has more knowledge about the Five Nights at Freddy's lore, is there something about Chica we're missing? Nice. Is there something about this story that maybe we would be better equipped to judge it? Were we well versed in the Freddy's minutia? or perhaps the movie?
The movie. Where can they send us that information?
Oh, so glad you asked, because otherwise I didn't know what to say. I could tell
email us. Eyes were lost.
Our email address is geeksontrial@gmail.com. Easy to remember because it's the name of the show. What? And that's also where you can go to submit your own geeky cases, whether it involve cosplay or video games, movies, or boardities, or anything. We will read those. We'll settle them on the air. We also have a form you can fill out in our episode description if you're too lazy to write an email.
It's true. And, we have a Patreon page that helps pay for the show, pays for us to go see movies and other things like that.
Gets me to Japan.
Get you to Japan. That's how we need money. He took out a lot of credit cards.
Please, guys, please. I'm deep in debt.
He's still in Japan. This is his I need to come home video, his ransom video. I don't know where I'm going with this, but you can head on over to patreon.com/geeksontrial. For just a few bucks a month, you get early access to audio, video, and other things that we have coming down the lines.
Oh, okay. Not the pikes?
No. Where can people find you? Because I'm sure you have photos and videos and all stuff from Japan.
Right. Well, I haven't posted any of them on social media or anything, but you can go
if you didn't post anything on social media, were you really there?
That's a question for the philosophers. check out my website, jonathanestis.com. I write stuff over at Go Nintendo, and I have a newsletter, and maybe I'll, in some form or another, I'll have some Japan content in the coming months.
Perfect.
Go check it out.
And you can find me. I have a whole month of pumpkin spice and apple cider content coming right now over at youtube.com/thesnackguy. I believe this week's episode that I just posted was about Spindrift, which is a seltzer water. They had a spiced apple cider version that came out. And next week, I think I am doing...
It's not pumpkin.
As I get after Halloween, I switch over to more fall flavors.
Okay.
The one before this, my last week's episode, was about the Wendy's pumpkin spice frosty.
Next week, ask me about the Japan Wendy's.
Oh, and also next week we are going to be on a little game show called...
Good call.
We are bad.
Almost missed that one.
Codenames Live. What's it called?
That's what it's called. Codenames Live.
Codenames Live. So you can join me and Jonathan over at Codenames Live on Twitch and potentially some point on YouTube. And we will be there playing Codenames Live for you to view. And join us in the chat, talk to us, and bring all your eyes over there. It's the night before Halloween. So we'll be having some mischief over in the chat room over there. So it's over there, Codenames Live over there.
That's October 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We've done it before. It's a lot of fun. And I don't know, just search Twitch for Codenames Live. It might be twitch.tv/Codenames Live. That's probably what it is, I think.
Check it out. I don't remember. We've done it a few times. But
I think that's what it is.
And until next time, I'm Ivan Hahn.
I'm Jonathan Estes. I'm so glad to be back. This was Geeks on Trial.